From In the Beginning to the Musical Apocalypse, this is The Bible Says What. I'm your host, Mike Wiseman. Just a quick reminder, I will be live on TikTok and YouTube every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 6 p.m. PST. That's Las Vegas time. You can find all the links in the show notes. As always, thank you for sharing and supporting the show. That being said, most Christians base their belief system on what others have said about their holy book, not on what they've actually read, because most have failed to read and research it for themselves. I have found that they don't like hearing what's actually in the book. They would rather keep the ideas planted by others, most of whom have also not read the book or bothered with the context. It's the blind leading the blind into a theocracy, based on a book they do not understand. It's irrational and dangerous, and is precisely why we have the orange idiot in the office right now. Christianity is a poison, and critical thinking is the cure. Christians, read your Bibles and break free from the bondage of faith. Let's start the show.
Is there anything in the Bible that you yourself have an issue with? Okay, so it took you reading the Bible to realize that those things were bad for you?
Yeah, it actually did. I
Couldn't
didn't
figure this out on your own?
No, Ted Bundy could be redeemed. God doesn't kill children.
What do you think the Passover was? Yahweh sets up a whole system in the Old Testament where you slaughter animals just so he's able to forgive you.
Tonight's special guest is author, speaker, podcaster, and coach Ryan Reichert. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Hey, thank you, Michael, so very much. Great to be here.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking the time. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit it on the head there today. I am an author, speaker, writer, coach, podcaster, father, ex-husband, previous Fortune 500 strategist, 23-year retired lieutenant colonel, and today, run our protector. I say legendary leadership companies. It just says LLC, I guess, for the state of Minnesota. But we've turned a number of the good Lord's blessings into gifts, and we just keep putting in the work. So it's really exciting that after all these years, I'm closer to figuring out that you just have to surrender and be a good follower, as opposed to being an a-hole and think you're in charge or in control of something.
Well, I can be an a-hole and not think I'm in control, but that's beside the point. You mentioned leadership. What makes a good leader to you?
I think the ability to listen would be the first thing. So
Okay.
I think back in all the military leadership positions I did have, I learned the most when I was actually advising. We call them OCTs, or observer controller trainers. And you actually are just there assessing a unit. So you're not actually in a leadership position or role. And it allows you to really, take that step back and ask questions and assess versus be kind of the tasker or the master delegator. And, that's where, as a leader, you end up, when I look at my calendar today, I spend more time focusing on, those like who work, for me, and getting to know them and understanding like what makes them tick. And that was all learned through non-leadership roles in the military. And, that's today what's allowed me to, run a business that has multiple arms all over the world. As I continue to, be blessed to like just build it out. When a new thing happens, like you're like, oh, this is going to be this entity. It's going to be the media portion of the business, which I had no idea what media even was up until like 6 months ago. And so, I think the biggest thing that I would tell, all the listeners, watchers out there is just like, be better at assessing, asking questions, because we all are leaders. We all are leaders. Like, you're the leader of your home. You're like, well, it's just me and the dog. Well, you're still the leader of your home. Like, so it doesn't mean that it comes with this title. It's who we are and like who we want to help really at the end of the day is what creates a good leader.
Awesome. So helping, listening, action, essentially.
Yeah. Action's
Gotcha.
probably, yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. Tell us a little bit about your book. I think it's the God Only Knows When the Devil Comes for You. Is
Yeah.
that the
Yeah. I got one here or whatever. So if anybody's looking, can we
almost there? Kind of
almost
there.
there? I don't know if it went, but yeah, God knows the devil comes to you a second chance at life. The first book in a series of three. But it basically takes you through my journey of sobriety, divorce, and redemption. So the last, even though we're at almost 47 years of my life, was basically the last 2 years of like where it started. Sobered up 21 months ago, and divorced over the last 21 months. I think it's been about 9, 10 months now since it was official. But and then creating the business. So there's a chapter that talks about creating your vision and having a vision board and so forth. Because in all that, I did lose my Fortune 500 job that I was so very proud of after my 23-year career in the military. And what do you do, right? Like, kind of thing. And it was like, well, you're going to sit in your pain for a little bit, and you're going to reflect on how you maybe weren't a great leader because you didn't do a good job following or listening or assessing. And then you're going to create a business that you start with just writing books, and then from there it goes on to we're putting a course together that'll be this. Actually, we are in September, aren't we? Gosh,
Yeah.
where did August go?
No.
At the end of the month, we'll turn the 3 books to become an online course, and probably looking at the end of October for all of it to be put into an application, because I know no one wants to carry around certain things. So it'll all be here, readily accessible. That'll have challenges, because if I'm not challenged, I seem to do nothing. I will probably, like after this, go watch whatever football game's on and do nothing because I don't have a challenge on my phone telling me to do the next right best thing. And so it'll be fun to see what we can take some of the tools that are inside the books that come out, with the videos and the workbooks and the worksheets. And I know I'm using this 4-letter word called work. It's
Yeah.
something that we have to put the work in if we expect to get anything. So
Action.
that action, you want money to pay the bills. Well, you don't have to go to work. You just got to put in some type of work. It's not always a physical place you got to end up at. It can start here. It normally works through these things and goes into your brain. And I love journaling today. It's so funny. I was just talking to a guy before this, and it was basically where it's like, in high school, we're talking about last firsts and first last, it's our daughters that are in senior year of high school and so forth. And, it's like, yes, it's my first last day of school or last first day of school, however they were wording it. And I was like, yes, it's like, not so what, I mean, it's a big deal, but it's like, you need to continue to learn. You need to continue to grow. And it's
Every day.
hard. Every single day, every day. And I didn't do that for so long. I always used my talents that I was given, but I never would put the extra work in to make it that much better. I was like, this is good enough. And the action kind of fell short, and a lot of folks would be like, I don't understand. You were, had a successful military career. You were an airborne ranger, like yada, 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 like you worked for Fortune 500. We're married for 20 odd years, had 2 beautiful children, la, 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 all these things. And I'm just like, yeah, but I stopped putting in the work and look what happened. Today I'm divorced. I don't know what the Fortune 500 job, I look at that it was twofold. I think talent management wise, like we'll say, but I believe it was a divine blessing. That was just a little bucket to go like, yeah, you could do this, but there's so much more under the sun for you. And because I had it writing on the wall, 59 and a half, I'll retire. I'll sit and drink Mai Tais on the beach or whatever. And, that would have been a pretty boring, like 15-year launch pad. I mean, literally get up every day. And if this resonates with anybody, I apologize if this is what your dream is, because like for me, it just didn't work. But yeah, do the 9 to 5. I wasn't doing 5 to 9, setting up my 9 to 5 like the military did, which means working out and, reading or writing before you actually start your day.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just kind of fell flat. And I'm so glad today that all happened. And, otherwise we wouldn't be here talking to each other.
Right. I wouldn't get to talk to Ryan. Thank you for that. I wanted to discuss the title of your book a little bit, though.
Yeah.
Very curious why you chose that title.
It's really interesting. Actually, have had this discussion with a number of different people. As I laugh thinking back to it, just visiting with Jack Canfield this past week as we work on a book together. I'm coming home from. I teach 6th grade boys at Eagle Brook Church, whatever Bible school or whatever Wednesday nights,
Mm.
and the God Only Knows song comes on, and I'm like, God only knows what they say about you. And I'm like right in the middle of my divorce. Like it's like, or maybe my divorce is just, no, I was still going through the divorce because this is before I even started writing the book. And I wrote this down in a notepad, this just God only knows. And I was like, huh, interesting. And I'd never heard that song before, like ever on the radio or anything.
Mm.
And let's see, how did it go? Because I put it in a notebook. The divorce was final 30 December. My mom was here for Christmas. And I said, hey, I'm going to start writing. And in that notebook, it was, God only knows. And then I had some pages of notes like to start the book. And as time went on, I'm like going through it and I had devil in there or whatever, or Lucifer. And I was like, saw it again, God only knows. And I was like, man, all these things that have happened, it's like when the devil comes for you. And like I'm on my redemption side of things, and it's like, a second chance at life. And it was because I've been sober for about 13 months at that point. And the whole like I was a big bourbon guy, so spirits, right? So like this whole side of, of like like evil spirits and everything.
Mm.
And yeah, it was just like a lot of different divine sides of it. And I can remember going like maybe it should only be like God only knows your second chance at life, because like with the when the devil comes for you, it invokes fear. Trilogy wouldn't allow me to do commercials with Trilogy Broadcast Network. They're like, hey, if you want to have this on any of our platforms, you're gonna have to change the title. It puts too much fear. Then I gave it to somebody else, and the commercial that they created for it was like super scary. It's like this whole like dark, whatever. And, I was like, hey, the people that watched it, I mean, still had a few thousand people that watched it. So I guess, hey, they didn't turn it off.
Interesting.
But
Interesting.
it's really interesting, and we did put it in red, so it stands out. And for me, I can see changing the title or whatever, because like sometimes I wonder, like, more people won't read the book because, and it literally takes you on this 12 chapter journey of like, how to get, at least turn the lights on in the valley that you're in, kind of thing. Or, if you're just someone who likes self-development, it'll be like, hey, this can keep you out of the ditch as you go through it. Cause it's not all doom and gloom. And it's interesting too. I always struggle with this of like, it's like, what's actually in this book, because like I'm working on the next project, and it's like one's connection with God is the first chapter, but then it goes into the power of pain, pulled from the fire, your new attitude on what pain can show you, becoming fireproof, lost love, love lost. It's all about your perspective, power of self, standing firm in your God-given purpose, building your life map one day at a time. What is the solution to the problem? Mindfulness and meditation, prayer, call to holiness, make a difference, love your neighbor, and final thoughts, burning desires. Super short, it's 106 pages. I'm a slow reader. I think I've done it in an hour and change. So
You got the job done in 106 pages, in other words.
yeah.
Got enough said. So what I'm curious about, though, thank you for that. I appreciate that. The doom and gloom, not so much. But the title itself with the God only knows when the devil comes for you. God only knows when the devil comes for you. So God knows when the devil comes for you.
Yeah.
And is he the only one that knows? Or
I think we know the devil's coming, but I don't think we can see it. And what I mean by that is, I think about like today, like, raise your right hand, repeat after me, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Mm.
And in a previous life, I grew up Catholic, I married Lutheran, and now I just follow Jesus Christ. But I always looked at God as like a damning God, a punishing God, and so on and
Mm.
so forth. And so it was just like I want nothing to do with any of it. I blew my knee out in high school as a football player. So then I got into alcohol and prescription drugs. I blew my Achilles out in the military. I went, further into the bottle and prescription drugs. When I, retired, and it was, like, hey, your PTSD, insomnia, suicidal ideation,
Mm.
your 1,700 pages of medical records. Like, here's your dozen prescription drugs. You shouldn't drink on any of these or whatever, but don't listen to me. I'm only professional. I
Hmm.
was like, thanks. I got to wash them down with something. I don't really like water.
Hey,
So
Ryan.
in all of that, yeah,
Terrible.
exactly. It's one where that's where I say God only knows, like that's your devil. And to me, I was worshiping the devil and not knowing it, kind of thing,
Well,
because
my point is God knows that the devil's coming, and you're worshiping the guy that's not tripping up the devil along the way to do bad things to you.
correct.
That's my point there. So God is the only one that knows. Some of us know sometimes, according to you. Uh, but God knows that the devil is coming, and he allows that to happen. Do you think that God allowed the devil to send you these things or have you drink the medications, essentially? Um, Help me understand.
Yeah, I mean, when I reflect on that one, I think it's like the mirroring of it all and really seeing like the pain that I wasn't willing to address. So I didn't want to feel, any of it. And so I was numbing my feelings with that and knowing that my, I hadn't found my faith yet. I hadn't,
Hmm.
I was in the valley. It just wasn't dark enough yet, kind of thing.
So
And
it wasn't the devil doing it, it was just you.
yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know. You bring up a great question when asked that, because I want to take responsibility for my actions,
Good.
and
Yeah. No, we
and
should. Absolutely.
and I want and I want to be held accountable for the pain and suffering that I've
Mm.
done to others,
There. Yeah.
and I also know that I have to forgive myself that I have done some of that.
Mm.
And in this human form, I think it's twofold, right? Because I look at the soul side of things as a believer and someone who trusts in my higher power, which I call God, Jesus Christ, and Holy
Mm.
Spirit. The one side of it is though that like you still in this form have to take accountability for your actions.
Yes, accountability for our actions. But do you think the devil was involved at all?
Yeah, I do.
Which part did the devil do? Did he help convince you and you just accepted it, or
I
how
think
did that work?
maybe I accepted it, like I
Mm.
think it's through the sides of things when how's it go? My father's a recovering alcoholic as well, and he suffered from PTSD from Vietnam and everything else. We got a nice long lineage, grandfather Navy and so forth. Grandpa Reich, anyone would have called him an alcoholic, but
Mm.
he passed away when I was like 10,
Mm.
and so can't ask him that today.
Mm.
But that's a very interesting question still to this. You know what I mean? Because
Mm.
like I do look at the spirituality side of things and know that like we're all have a spirit, or at least that's what I believe. And the human form of me though is still an action of myself, knowing that the placation of um the power that the spirits have to,
Mm.
allow us to change.
Interesting. So, was there a spiritual battle going on for you in your alcoholism? Do you think there
Yeah,
was this
I think there was
metaphysical
I
war
I think
zone over Ryan's brain?
yeah, I mean, I would say that from that side of it, there would be, a lot of spiritual warfare just in general. I think there's spiritual warfare uh
Huh.
amongst anybody,
Help me understand how that works. Because to me, your God, I mean, from what I hear from most people, is he's all powerful. The Bible says he's all powerful. He can do whatever he wants.
Right.
So why is there spiritual warfare? Help me understand why God is battling, period. At all. I mean, he should not need to battle anything whatsoever. He should be able to just think things and, stuff happens. So why is he battling it?
I think you have the twofold side of it. I think you have the earthly present form of things, and then you have the what comes after it all. That's where because if we just I'll placate the side of why do people do anything to anybody?
Well, I'm talking about the spiritual battle. Is that actually happening behind you? And why does God even need a spiritual battle to be going on? And why does God allow it to go on?
Well, I think he allows it to go on. So there's just life, there's existence.
Right. Life existence that he created. I'm assuming here that you believe that God created all this life and existence. So God created life and existence that needs spiritual warfare. That part is the confusing part to me. Why would God need spiritual warfare in his life, world,
Well, I think spiritual
creation?
warfare is the entity where all right, physical form, spiritual form, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, make believe everywhere. He's going to pretend it's there.
Yeah, right.
There's an angel above my head fighting for my life right now.
Yeah, so I guess to me, no, I mean, when I look at the spiritual form, is our soul. That to me is the spiritual, where souls can fight against the physical, non-physical.
That's weirder too. That's even weirder. So now my soul is fighting.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow. Interesting.
Okay, here's one that I would go with or whatever. It's just choosing to whatever we do in life. Some people volunteer for the military, right? And then you go well, if there wasn't war, then we wouldn't need military.
Well,
crime, we wouldn't.
I mean, they serve other purposes besides just going out and slaughtering people.
Yeah, I mean, however we look at it, I mean, but it's got to come from somewhere, right?
What's got to come from somewhere?
Anything that happens, like the action, reaction.
Okay, I'm confused. So now we have to have a spiritual world because actions and reactions exist? Help me understand that.
I mean, I guess to that end, I guess, so we're born into this world.
Got that part. We can get there. I got that.
And we leave this world.
Got that. That's it.
That's it.
It's it. Yeah, we're born and we're dead.
What happens along the way?
Life happens along the way. That little bit in between is life. That's what you get. Enjoy it. Hold on to it. Cherish it if you can, if you know how to. Do your best with it. Do your best with the people around you. 100%. Right. But where do we get the spirits parts? I don't need the spirits parts to live my life. I don't need to believe in the spirits parts to be a good person. So help me understand why we need the spirits parts and the spirits wars and all these weird things. Why do we need that?
I think for me, it gives me hope.
Gives you a story.
Bad things happen, for whatever reason, to me, that it, I don't. What's the best way to put it? When things aren't a certain way, and for whatever reason, it's just I'm trying to think the best way to put it. It's just that I need something more, I guess, than just it.
Well, I can believe in Spider-Man. I can think that he's helping me and guiding me. With great power comes great responsibility and all that. But at the same time, it's just a fictional character, and I can base my morals off of what a fictional character can do. I like that idea of this person that does these really awesome things. I'd like to strive to do those same things or be like that person, such as Spider-Man. But when it comes to your God, I'm just going to go down that rabbit hole real quick here. I don't think we should use him as a role model or a leader. I think he's a terrible role model and leader. I think Spider-Man's way better. We can pick a better imaginary friend, as far as I'm concerned, because the Bible is the story of God, correct? Do you believe the Bible to be true?
Yes.
There. Yeah. See, and in that book, I see the characteristics of that God, of that character. And it's horrifying. It's disgusting. There's so many things in there that are so bad. I'm not just talking about the Old Testament. Yeah, there's tons of stuff in the Old Testament, but the New Testament as well. Horrible things in there. Bad things. He's going to burn people with the sun. He's going to drown fish in blood. All these horrible things, Ryan. He needs bloodshed for forgiveness. I don't see that as a good thing. So help me understand that part.
Yeah, I mean, I think just knowing that there's good and evil in the world, like just like you brought up Spider-Man. Spider-Man faces evil doers, and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
And so I think that entity of God in itself is just whenever he created everything, the universe, the creator, it's just the side of it that this would be part of it. And whatever science experiment we want to see in this human form, like these are all the things that happen under that. I mean, hence
Mm.
why, if you think about from the Old Testament side of it, like, people live what, 1100 years, in the beginning. And it's like, wow, that's too much. Cause like we will screw it up time and time again if you give us too much
Fantasy.
time.
That's just
We get,
fantasy. That's just,
we
we
get,
don't live
we
that
get,
long.
we get bored. We get bored, right?
Our insides
So
turn to dust. Yeah, we can't
yeah.
live that long. So that's interesting to me as well. No, but the good part of the God, um, how is he a good leader? Help me understand how God is a good leader, and we should be using him as a role model.
Yeah, well, I think the side of it is, for me, is like I think about where I've come from and, turning my life around after, had great times, like I said, I was talking to somebody about like the good time. I wish someone would have told me when it was the good times, it was the good times.
Mm,
And then, kind of you go into the valley for some bad times. And now we're kind of like, okay, well, there was a lot of lessons to be learned in that. And, like kindness maybe at the time wasn't one of my fortes.
mm.
So I think in that side of it, it's like to be kind, like, when we're having bad days, you still can find the good in the bad. But in the
Right, but my
bad,
my problem is that so bad. God's character is so bad in the Bible. All the bad things he does in there, from in the beginning to the musical apocalypse, is just he's really not a very nice person or being. So help me understand how he is a good leader and worthy of all of this recognition.
well, why is anybody worthy of any recognition? I guess would be my question to
Well,
that.
your God specifically, though.
Well, I mean, like that's the thing though. I am from like I'm grateful that like all of this exists so we can be here. So like to that end, that's where I go with it is
That's it. Just trees and existence.
no, I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, the like the simple, not dwelling on this question per se, but the side of it to where it's like without God, like there is nothing. So like to
Right.
me,
There's no devil. There's no suffering. There's no war. There's no spiritual wars. There's no
no, it's
bloodshed for
just there's no
forgiveness.
existence. We're
There's
not,
no
you and I aren't
drowning.
having this conversation.
So why did God choose to have existence with all of these horrible things?
So then there should be good things.
So your God is unable to make a place that is perfect. He has to have bad things there.
Well, I think for any good thing, there's a bad thing, and for any bad thing, there's a good thing. I mean,
So is heaven
it's the
perfect?
natural yin and yang of existence.
So is heaven perfect? Is there a yin and yang in heaven?
I don't know. I haven't been there, so
Do you think heaven is a perfect place?
do I believe it's a perfect place? I believe that it would most likely have to be a pretty solid place if you're there. I mean, yeah.
So there's no bad in heaven. There's nothing bad. There's no yin and yang in there to
I
make
mean,
it
you have to
bad
define
for you.
bad. What's bad? I mean, because I would say
Suffering,
today,
unnecessary suffering. Is there unnecessary suffering in heaven, Ryan?
uh, boy, I I don't know. I don't know.
Let me give you a
That's
scenario. My parents, my grandparents, they're all Christian. I am not. They're going to go to heaven. Are they going to know while they're in heaven that I'm burning in hell?
are they gonna my interaction with you, even though that you don't believe today, that in the future you could possibly believe, and then you'd be there with them.
That'd be weird. That would be really weird. Worshipping a documented child killer that needs bloodshed for forgiveness. I can't see myself doing that in the future. I did that before, Ryan, but then I read the book and I can't go back. It's like you can't unlearn things, that you can't put the curtain behind the guy in the Wizard of Oz
Yeah,
anymore. So help me
it's
understand. Is
weird
it a
though. I mean,
perfect place
well, I
when they're
just think
thinking about me
this
in
is what.
hell?
Yeah, I'm like, I just think this is what I'm thinking of right now when you say bad, like, and I think of like the divorce that I just went through over the last couple of years, and thinking about like all of it, and then like thinking today, like it was like a good thing, like because it
Sometimes
allowed.
those are a good thing. I'm talking about unnecessary evils. Unnecessary suffering. Sorry, unnecessary suffering. My parents will be in heaven, unnecessarily suffering, thinking of me and burning in hell. That's the unnecessary suffering I'm discussing here.
I just always think though of like I think about like the greater good that still comes out of something that bad that happens. Like I think
What
about
greater good is it for me to burn in
like,
hell?
well, no, I'm going to use a different example just because like so I can relate to it. Uh, so
Okay, all right.
no, I'm just thinking of like two of my best friends that died in Afghanistan.
That's
Terrible,
terrible.
right?
Yeah,
Terrible, terrible, right? But I think about the Where Blue Run to Remember that's come from it that like the spouses created from their death and
I'm talking about heaven and hell. We're talking about on off earth. You're talking about on earth.
yeah,
I'm talking about off earth.
I'm
This
just saying
perfect place that God made.
from the side of it to me is like I'm just saying like today we don't like today I know where you're at today and I know where I'm at today. And you're saying, you know, like if this happens or whatever, like I'm not saying that you wouldn't be redeemed and go to heaven here, like, you know, just
I
because like
don't want to
today
hang
you
out
don't
with that
believe.
guy. Ryan, I've decided I don't want to hang out with that guy. I think he's a monster. I think he's disgusting. I don't want to hang out in his place because there's no nighttime. I enjoy looking at the stars, and I don't want to spend my eternity worshiping and serving this monster. So no, I'm not going to go hang out with this guy. Let's stick with that scenario. The fact that I refuse to hang out with this guy. He has to do something with me at this point. I don't want to hang out with him. What's he going to do? He's going to throw me into a torture chamber. According to Christian mythology, that's what he's going to do. So help me understand. How are my parents going to be in heaven knowing that I'm in hell suffering?
How they're not gonna?
How are they going to act? How is it going to be a perfect place if they're going to be knowing that I'm in hell?
Well, I mean, obviously that was a choice you're making, and therefore they know that like there was nothing they could do about it.
So they're going to be happy instead of sad?
Well, it could be the nothingness side of it because it was a choice that you made. Like it doesn't
So
always have to be like, you
that's
know,
not my parents at that point. That's somebody different. If there's nothingness there instead of caring for me, that's not my family. God changed them somehow then.
I mean,
And-
I guess to me, I mean, we all get to make our own choices. Like, so like that's free. That's the free will side of it.
well, no, there is no free will. But my point is, my parents are sitting in
So wait a
heaven
second. Wait a second.
knowing
Wait a second.
that I'm
There's
in
no
hell.
free will.
There is no free will. Where do you get the idea we get free will?
Well, I would say like I'm just thinking about the choices that I've made in my life, and I'd call that free will.
Okay, what what definition are you using for free will?
The definition that we all make choices that have consequences.
Amazing. I'm going to use the dictionary. The ability to decide what to do independently of any outside influence. That's how I define free will. That's how the Cambridge Dictionary defines free will. So, ability to decide what to do independently of any outside influence. Does God influence people? Does
Well,
the
I guess with
devil
that one,
influence
then
people?
I'd go back all the way back to the devil influencing me versus God influencing me. Then, you know.
Well, God did it. God allowed the devil to influence you. Therefore, God wanted this to happen. God had a plan for you, and it was for the devil to influence you.
Yeah,
So,
it sounds good. It worked
no
out for
free
the
will
better.
there.
It worked out for the better. Then.
But that's not free will, Ryan. According
Well,
to the
then
Cambridge Dictionary,
I
the
guess then I'm
human
very
definition.
uneducated. I guess I'm very uneducated, and I don't completely understand it, and therefore that
No.
makes me who I am.
Well, let's not use that anymore then, now that we understand the real definition of free will. Let's not ever use that again. I appreciate that, Ryan. So, using this definition of free will, the actual definition of free will, the ability to decide what to do independently of any outside influence, do we have free will?
I guess not with that definition that you gave there.
Yeah. No free will. God interferes, God interjects, God sends the devil if he needs to.
Yeah, I guess it works out for some of us.
Interesting. So does God know it's going to work out for some of us and not for some of the others?
He's all knowing and all whatever. Then I
Yeah.
guess so.
So
I
the
mean,
next follow would be, does God send things to people knowing that they're not going to succeed or that they're going to sin?
well, I definitely say sin. Yes.
So God puts things in front of
So I
people.
guess that would be succeed, possibly, right? Like, because I mean, hence the seven mortal deadly sins, you know, which some of us here, I've unfortunately executed them all. And that's what I look. when I look at things in life, like that's how I go about my business. And so just as simple as that.
Ezekiel 3:20. When a righteous man turns from his righteousness and does evil, and I, this is God, put a stumbling block before him, he will die. So God puts stumbling blocks in front of people. So we're blaming the devil, but these are God's actions.
Well, the cool thing is about this that I love so much is we're talking about God, and that's all that matters to me.
That's weird. So let's go to the trees. Do you think the trees were a stumbling block?
The trees were a stumbling block. I mean, they allow us to breathe, I guess.
No. Okay. I do love trees, though, Ryan. I'm talking about the magic trees in the beginning of the story, the ones that God created and put in the middle of the garden. Do you believe that those were a stumbling block put there by God?
I suppose they allow, choice, right?
Stumbling block, not choice, because God knew the choices they were going to make beforehand. So he made the trees and then let in the bad guy to convince them. God knew what was going to happen. That's not really a choice at that point. That's just God's setup. It's God's plan. God enacted this thing he knew would work, and therefore he did it. Right?
I guess so.
Right. So, how is that a good leader? How does a good leader put a stumbling block in front of somebody, a tree that's going to cause the fall of man, a bad guy in the back door, and then blame the people for doing the thing he knew they were going to do? How is that a good leader?
Give you the opportunity, even though he knows what you're going to do, right? Before we're
Right. He set it up a certain way, knowing exactly what would work to do what he wanted it to do, not what he wanted somebody else to do, what he wanted to happen, what his thoughts and his actions. God's way is perfect. This is all God's plan. So,
Right.
God is, as a leader, putting stumbling blocks in front of people, causing the fall of man, causing death and chaos. God is causing death and chaos on purpose. That's not a good leader.
Well, I guess that's who I'm going to follow, and
That's scary. Why are you following somebody that does that kind of thing? That's grotesque and horrible.
It does sound like it, but today the way I live is like what I do, and it works for me.
Also weird. So help me understand how he's the good guy in the story. Can you help me understand how he's a good leader? That's what I want to focus on. How is he a good leader?
Yeah, I mean, I look at things like completely differently today from the side of Heaven's Army, and like being one here today, in physical form is the side of it where like there is good and evil the way he created it, and then there's also the other side of it where there's good and evil from the spiritual side. And so just currently just down here doing the Lord's work, and like just like anything else, like I've stumbled, and so therefore like now it's time to be redeemed, and you follow from that end. And so I follow Jesus Christ today here
I
on
have
earth, and it's leading me in the right direction.
no idea what that means, but I asked you, why is God a good leader? Can we do that one? Why is God a good leader?
Because I have the ability to follow somebody that allows me to live in life that it is the light today, and I don't see the darkness that I once did. And
Okay, so we're talking actions and the ability to listen, and does he ask you questions? Those are good leader actions. That's what you told me earlier. So what actions are we seeing from God that help us understand he's a good leader?
that I like if I do things the right way today, basically that I'm here to help those who have less. So my goal and my mission in life today is like to heal the sick, feed the poor, and protect the weak. And
I
for
said God's
whatever
actions,
reason,
though. God's actions. I understand your actions and what you're doing and stuff, but what are God's actions that show he's a good leader?
um, the sun came up today, so that's pretty amazing.
So Jesus
Uh,
brought the sun up? Chanticleer brings the sun up. Come on, haven't you seen Rockadoodle?
did you bring the sun
I
up?
do.
Did you bring the sun up?
No, Chanticleer brings the sun up. He's a rooster. He brings the sun up every morning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess that's true. The rooster crows and the sun does come up.
there we go. So Jesus not needed. We don't need an invisible man. We have an actual rooster that does this thing. So help me understand, why is he a good leader?
He's a good leader because he's the one who created everything that
Oh,
exists.
all
So,
the evil and chaos and suffering.
yep.
Ryan, that's not a good leader.
Well, hey,
Help me understand how he's a
sometimes you
good
need
leader.
some pain to put in the work to
No,
change, you know?
no, Ryan, we do not need children to be assaulted in his house. We do not need children to be shot in his house. We do not need these things to happen. We do not need that unnecessary suffering. So help me understand how your God is a good leader.
He does all that so like we can make change in this world. I
That's
know what you're saying,
disgusting.
but
Ryan,
there's nothing under the sun
that makes
that,
me icky. Ugh,
yeah, I know. It's
ugh.
a terrible thing.
Why would your God not stop these things instead of allowing it to teach people, ugh, to teach people lessons? Yeah, Ryan,
I know it's terrible.
it's
I just want to know
disgusting.
what would life be like, I guess, without any of the suffering?
Oh, wouldn't that be like heaven?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we have
So
to
he can
create
make
that.
heaven, right? He can make a
Yeah,
place
we
with
have
no
to create
suffering.
that. Well, you know, then
Ryan,
that'd live on forever, then, right?
Ryan, that's not good though. Why do we have to have the suffering before we can actually go to this perfect place with no suffering? Help me understand why God needs children assaulted and shot in his house. Help me understand. How is that a good leader?
I mean, I can't answer that.
I
Those are
didn't, you can't.
questions
It's impossible, Ryan. And I
yeah.
appreciate the honesty because as a good leader for me and you, if we were good leaders and we saw these things happening, what would we do as good leaders, Ryan?
I mean, we make it stop, right?
Damn Skippy, we would stop that shit, Ryan. Oh my goodness, I would jump right in. I would be violent. I would be violent against the person causing these things. God
I
sits
think
back and watches and
I
says,
think that
free will.
I think that happens though, doesn't it? Like I
I
mean,
don't see
we
it.
could we could do some science projects out there, I think, and fall. I mean, granted, we can if they just kill themselves, like happened recently, right? You know, like it happens a lot of the time.
As
But
far as the
yeah,
shooters,
yeah.
oh, okay, no, I'm talking about your God stopping them from coming in, regardless of them unaliving themselves. Sorry, I did a lot of TikTok. Killing themselves by themselves. God does not step in and stop it. We don't see that happening. We don't see people calling, oh my God, the priest was coming in. He was going to do stuff, but Jesus showed up, shot lightning bolts out of his nostrils, and the guy went away. No, we don't ever hear anything like that. We hear the opposite, which was God was absent. And that is what I'm saying is God is completely absent. He's not a good leader. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't do anything. He just sets this entire disgusting thing into motion and says, good luck. I don't see it as good, Brian. I don't see it as a good leader. I don't see that as an effective leader. I don't
Yeah,
see that as somebody who's
I
worthy
know.
of praise.
I understand. That's the coolest thing about it all, though, is like we get to have both sides of the street.
We
You know,
don't. I'm going to suffer for eternity because I don't believe your God is loving. I think he's a monster because I've read the book and I've seen his actions. But for some reason, because of that, I deserve torture. So I don't think that's good. I think that's ridiculous and silly.
like I said, like in our human form, like that gets to be our response today. You know, one side of the street here, one side of the street there. It's
Is that a good leader?
is it a good leader? I mean, you know, it's somebody like I said that I'll continue to follow today for me.
Right. He's a terrible leader. We have yet to see how he's a good leader at all. I've given you reasons why he's not a good leader, but I've yet to hear a reason why he's a good leader, except that Ryan's still going to follow him even though he's a monster. That's all I'm hearing.
Hey, he redeemed me, so I'm happy. Life's good.
You redeemed you. You fixed you, Ryan. And I congratulate you on that. That is a whole hell of a lot. Getting away from alcoholism and all that, and then battling with the divorce, dude, that's a lot. So I commend you for being able to do with all that. That's awesome. So good job. But I don't think your invisible friend had anything to do with it. Your invisible documented child killer had nothing to do with it. Can you point to a fact that helps me understand that your invisible friend had anything to do with what you did?
I mean, I when I think about whoever knocked at the door, right? Like, I didn't kill myself, and you're gonna say, well, that was like somebody knocking at the door. It's like I don't think anybody can synchronize stuff that perfectly when it comes to stuff like that. But that's me.
So somebody knocked on the door when you were about to hurt yourself.
Yeah,
Okay, so and you
I know
think
what you're gonna
God
say.
did that or the person did that?
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. Like the person did that because they knocked on the door.
Right.
Like,
Well, again, how do we know it was your God? That's so weird. So somebody knocks on your door at an opportune time, mind you, opportune time, and you attribute that to your invisible friend. I'm very curious. Why are we attributing that to God?
Because I do, and that's like I said, my beliefs. Like
Yeah, but why, Ryan? I want to know why. I understand that you have these beliefs, but I want to
you
know
know,
why you're believing this stuff.
I don't know. I don't waste that much time thinking about it.
That's the problem, Ryan. We need to think about why we believe things. We need to question ourselves. Why are you not questioning your beliefs?
Well, because I don't. I got a book that's got 66 books in it that I read, and
It's
like for
garbage, though,
me,
Ryan. It's
pray and
garbage.
meditate and everything else, it works for me.
Pretending works for you. I can't pretend like that, Ryan, and I can't worship a documented child killer who needs bloodshed for forgiveness.
I
And
just think
yet
back to
to help me
being a
understand how
kid
he's a
and having, playing and having an imagination, I guess, has allowed me to, stay young and look good and be fit and all that
yeah, but
stuff.
there's
And
a point. We can have an imagination, but when we start worshiping monsters that are invisible, that's a little extreme, Ryan. And then we're defending their actions without even really thinking about it. You don't even think about these things that he's done, or think about the stories about him in the Bible. You just assume he's fine, and we're going to follow him because you were an alcoholic and got free from it, and you think that he helped. It's just very, very weird to me, Ryan. It's very weird. I don't understand how we're so one-sided there with that.
this is what it is, I guess. And,
Scares me. That's scary. We need to think about
like I
why
said,
we
it's
believe
good.
the
Like
things we believe, Ryan.
I've seen multiple different things in life or whatever, and it, like nothing really scares me anymore, I guess. So
This scares me, Ryan. This is the problem. You have an invisible friend that you follow no matter what. That is a scary trait. You're going to follow somebody no matter what they do. Ryan, right off the bat, do you realize how far and bad that is?
well, I don't look at it as being bad.
So
Yes,
the
if that
people that
makes me
followed
bad,
Hitler, the
if
people that
that
followed
makes
Pol
me,
Pot, they
if
followed
that
him because they
makes,
thought he was a good leader, regardless of the bad things he was doing. Ryan, you're following a monster just as the people were following Pol Pot and Hitler.
well, the
Monsters,
cool
people
thing
that
is,
unalive
like
people.
here in the
Kicked
US
out.
of A, like, and being the soldier that I was, like,
Would you follow the orders from God if God told you to go wipe out a town full of kids? Would you follow those orders?
uh, like, no, I wouldn't.
So you wouldn't follow an order from God to go wipe out a town like they did with the Amalekites.
You know, like,
Why not? This is your God. He's a good God, right? He's a good leader.
wild and crazy.
It is wild and crazy. Amalekites, what is it? The Lord rejects Saul as a king, and he said, "Now go attack the Amalekites and totally destroy all that belongs to them. Do not spare them. Put to death the men, women, and children, and infants, and cattle, and sheep, and camels, and donkeys, because we had evil babies and evil donkeys." I always liked the evil asses. There were evil asses there. So God needed those evil asses destroyed along with the infants. So would you follow the law or the rules that God is saying here? The orders, sorry, the orders that God is giving here. Would you go to a town and totally annihilate everything, even the evil
Well,
asses?
it was in the Old Testament, right? So things changed with like.
Did God give these orders, Ryan?
Yes, he did.
I don't care what book it's from. God gave these orders, and I'm asking you, would you follow these orders from God?
I mean, I would say no to killing kids.
Jesus
Then,
tells you to do this. You're going to tell Jesus no.
yeah, it's I.
Well, then Jesus is going to
Interesting.
unalive you because that's what happens if you don't listen to Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I guess then I'm just not that squared away. I guess I have it all figured out.
Well, I don't think you have it all figured out. I wish you would read the whole thing though from beginning to end.
Oh, I'm
And
not
if
done yet. Yeah, I started reading it last year, and
oh
I'm
Ryan,
still in the Old Testament. So
Ryan, so we're believing something we haven't even read.
hey, it's all good. I have no
That's
problem.
not good, Ryan.
The
That's
living
not
truth
good.
tells me this, Michael, that all I have to do is tell the truth, and
Wow.
like I'm good. So I'm telling you the truth.
I appreciate the truth. I do. But it scares me that you believing something without even knowing what's in it. You haven't even read the book, but you believe this thing to be true and this God to be true. Ryan, that is scary.
Hey,
we need to do better as a species. We need to finish reading the books before we say this book is true.
I'm still working on it.
Right. So stop saying it's true till you finish it, Ryan. Read the book before you say it's true. That's where I'm at. That's all I got. It's just so weird to me.
What I'm doing, Michael. That's all I'm telling you.
It's so weird to me. I don't know how that works or how that can even possibly function in reality. But Ryan, I do appreciate your time today. we can close it out with where can we find you and any last words you got?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Ryan T. Reichert or Army RT 1978 on any of the social media or ourprotectordevelopment.com. And yeah, if you want to read any of the books, head to Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com, any of the .coms where you buy books. And greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Michael, so much for your platform and allowing me to have the time with you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time, Ryan. Appreciate it. Stay safe out there.
Thank you.
That's all the show there is for you today. Thanks for listening. As always, you can find all things BSW related on the show's website at thebiblesayswhat.com. If you like what you heard and want to help keep the recording light on, simply go to thebiblesayswhat.com and sign up to be a supporter of the show. Your episodic tithes of $1 or more will get you early access to each new episode on Wednesdays instead of Sundays. And no matter which platform you use to listen to your podcasts, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on the next episode. Until then, would you kindly share and review the show?